It was with great fanfare and joy among the people when it was announced that James Gunn and Peter Safran were taking over DC as the new co-CEOs and executive chairs of the DC, now getting, for the first time ever, its own actual studio, its own actual dedicated studio, something that Warner Brothers never let the DC films have before. And now here they were, they've got it. And we've got Superman Legacy coming, very excited about that. And one of the films that James Gunn let us know was that they were going to be doing is Supergirl. Now, just for context here, I am a major James Gunn fanboy. He has, and he's earned it. I've become a fanboy because I have loved his approach to filmmaking. I love the attitude he brings to filmmaking. And so far, for the most part, I still would have liked to seen Henry Cavill around, but for the most part, I've loved what we've seen so far, as far as his and Peter's decision-making process about how they're going to proceed with this new DCEU. We're not really going to know if it's good or bad until we get to Superman Legacy in 2025. But Rob, I got to tell you, today, if James were to walk into the room, it was one of those days when I'd say, "Hey, James, what you doing?" Because they've announced that they've hired a writer for the new Supergirl movie. Big, tentpole, superhero, big budget film, major motion picture. And they hired a writer who has never written an episode of television and never written a feature film. No experience. They wrote one short film. So have I. Ask me how much that's worth. At any rate, this comes to us from Deadline, who are quoting a James Gunn putting out a social media message talking about Ana Nogueira, who is now on and writing Supergirl, and it sounds like she's at minimum got a couple of drafts done. Says this: "A hearty public welcome to Ana Nogueira to the DC Studios family. Ana is an amazing writer." Really? Show me something. Anyway, is an amazing writer whose screenplay adaptation of Woman of Tomorrow is above and beyond anything I hoped it would be. We're excited to be moving forward on this unique take on Supergirl in this beautiful star-spanning tale. And again, that comes to us from James Gunn. So upon hearing this, I was like, whoa, wow, we got a writer. That's funny. I don't recognize that name. It turns out there's a reason I didn't recognize the name. As I went over to her IMDb, she has primarily been an actress. Some people might recognize her. She did a short stint with 4 or 5 episodes on Vampire Diaries as an actress. Didn't write any of the episodes because when I went to look for her writing credits, I didn't see any. And then I had to look more closely. Well, the reason I missed it is because there's one credit, and it's not for writing on any significant television series. It's not for writing on any feature film, big studio, low budget, or indie, or otherwise. This individual's written a short film, one short film. Now, you guys know, I always get concerned when I hear about whether it's a director or writer who has never done anything taking on a big project as their first thing. Even our X-Men buddy standing in line at Toys R Us, Ray.
Yeah.
Why am I freezing on his name?
The guy who does Invasion. The guy who did Invasion.
Anyway, they announced that he was directing X-Men, the Dark Phoenix X-Men movie.
Simon Kinberg.
Simon Kinberg, right? We love Simon Kinberg. I love Simon Kinberg. I think he's wonderful. He's done a lot of great stuff. Some not so great stuff. Everybody has bad days at the office. And even though I love Simon, when they announced that he's going to be directing that X-Men movie, he has never directed shit before. And I went, oh no. Simon, maybe the first thing you direct should be something a little smaller. Maybe it should be something that smaller budget, not as high expectations. And now he didn't make the worst film in the world. I think there was some upside to his movie. I do, but overall it failed. The film failed. And I always get a little bit nervous when this happens. And now listen, I'm not saying I don't trust James Gunn. James Gunn says that she's written an awesome script. I have to just take his word for it because I got nothing to back that up with. Not a television episode, not a single film, nothing. And I trust Gunn. I do. you have to be blind not to be at least a little concerned about this. Like, really? Is this the right platform for somebody to write their first real script? Is that the platform? Is this the platform for the first thing they're going to have produced is going to be a big, important, probably large budget comic book superhero film? While you are currently trying to rehabilitate and rebuild the reputation of DC films. In 5 minutes, I can pull out a list of 20 female writers who have won or been nominated for Writing Academy Awards. Couldn't get any of them. I'm just, and again, I'm not saying that's going to be bad. It might be great. It might be great. You can heave up a half-court shot. Maybe it'll go in. Maybe it will. But I don't know why James and Peter don't put themselves in a better position to increase their odds of success by going out and getting somebody who has some experience, who has some work that they've done that has been produced and showed that it can work. Again, this might turn out to be the best screenplay of all time. I'm not saying that it won't. I'd just be lying to you. As a big James Gunn fan and as somebody who very much believes in the future of DC, I would be lying to you if I wasn't honest and say, this particular move makes me nervous. It does. I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Guys, the holidays are right around the corner, and HelloFresh can help take the stress out of dinner by delivering everything you need to cook up tasty meals right to your door, saving you tons of time. We all know the holidays can be hectic, and that's where HelloFresh's 15-minute meals come in. These quick fixes help you get a wholesome meal on the table in less time than it takes to get delivery. I've told you guys many times before that Ann and I, being working professionals, often would struggle when it comes to dinner time, having time to put something that tastes good and is healthy for us in front of us. Well, HelloFresh, with their great delivery, pre-portioned ingredients, easy to follow instructions, has made dinner time a fun time. So go to HelloFresh.com/CampeaFree and use the code CampeaFree for breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/CampeaFree with the code CampeaFree. Anyway, Rob, you heard about this move. First of all, it's based on a pretty cool sounding story.
Yeah.
But what do you think about what we're hearing?
Well, here's the thing. I think in the case of this writer, it wouldn't surprise me if she's written a number of full-length feature films that have not or have yet to get made.
But nothing that's ever been picked up. Or
nothing.
produced.
But so they understand that, and maybe she's done script doctor work. They understand that she's done amazing work, probably even for Warner Brothers. We just haven't seen it yet. So they hired her because they knew what storyline they wanted to adapt. And in this case, they have a lot riding on this, and I think James Gunn did not make this decision lightly. So for this kind of a writer, I think it's because she's a writer we're going to hear a lot about. She now has this very high-profile project. I mean, I don't think anyone has had more pressure on them in the history of cinema than James Gunn does to deliver on not just Superman
Totally agree.
legacy and then the Supergirl movie. And I mean, for his entire legacy in entertainment, if he screws this up, no one's going to remember you made Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So and knowing James a little bit, I, like you, trust in Gunn. I really do. And I think people should, look, I could be wrong about this. I think what we know that Superman Legacy is going into production. We have a release date on it. And now it seems to be this is the next movie that's coming from them that is moving forward, because now we're hearing about it. He's tweeting about it. I would assume that this 1-2 punch is going to be something special, especially in our superhero fatigued world. So I'm all in on Gunn. If it's a poker metaphor, I'm putting I'm putting all of my chips in on the Gunn super franchises here.
Oh, I am 100% on the James Gunn train. I really am. I am also, to pursue the metaphor, pushing in all my chips. But I'm going to get a little bit nervous when I push them all in, but then turn over my hand and see I got 7 deuce. I'm going to be, it's not that I don't believe in James. I completely believe in James. But, you pointed out there's so much pressure on him and Peter, right? Because they have a task in front of them that I don't know anybody in the history of Hollywood has faced. to have a complete, well-known, popular, and beloved franchise that has so completely failed, and now you got to try to re-kickstart it and rebuild, get back. See, it's one thing to try to win over an audience. It's another thing to win over an audience that has already turned against you. And so much of the movie-going audience has turned against the DC films. We saw it with nobody going out to see Black Adam, nobody going out to see The Flash, nobody going out to see Blue Beetle. Despite the fact that I think all three of those films,
Pretty good.
Black Adam was good. I liked it. I really liked Flash, and I really liked Blue Beetle, and ain't nobody went to go see them. So it's hard enough to win over an audience. It's 5 times harder to win over an audience that has already turned against you. And in that context, James Gunn and Peter Safran are now facing this daunting task of rebuilding a DCU. And I kind of wish, to quote Sean Connery in The Untouchables, I kind of feel like they're bringing a knife to a gunfight. I just feel like they should be going in with bigger weapons. But again, James has read the script. I have not.
That's what gives me some...
And maybe it's great.
Yeah, that's why I don't have as much pause on this, because it's not like he said, we hired this person, she's going to do great. He's saying... I've read it,
and
this
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's saying it's great already.
And I do think she got the job because they'd read stuff she'd written before that hasn't been
Published
yet made.
or picked up or used.
To keep that poker metaphor going, John, let's hope it's not a flop.
Well, I'll just hope he's not bluffing. It's not a bluff. I hope he's packing a set, man. Royal flush, whatever. I need to see.
I think he knows what he's got, and I think people are they're thinking that because James Gunn has only made, like, I watched Suicide Squad again the other day. That movie's great.
It's so good.
That movie's great. Now, it's a different sensibility, but a great storyteller can work in every genre. And I think James Gunn, he's already done the Guardians of the Galaxy Suicide Squad thing. I think he's going to lean in to the classic nature of this character and is going to give us something very special.
Well, it also kind of broadens now what we're looking at as far as this new DC universe, right? Because, okay, we know we've got a Superman legacy coming. Okay, we know we've got the Batman Brave and the Bold, but that's not coming anytime soon. Because they just talked recently that Andy Muschietti, after the writer's strike, I think the priorities were different prior to all the strikes, but with all the strikes and things getting moved around, Andy Muschietti is now turning his attention to a couple of other projects first, and Batman Brave and the Bold is going to have to just wait. So either they change directors or we're going to have to wait on Batman Brave and the Bold. There's James Mangold's Swamp Thing that is supposed to be happening at some point somewhere. Now we've got the Supergirl thing that's in motion. The animated, what's the animated one called? Something.
Creature Commandos.
Creature
Commandos, thank you.
That's the
I was almost
first
like
thing.
Creature Legion, but we're just talking about
Right.
the other one. So we're starting to get a picture of what's coming and when. They still haven't announced a director for the Supergirl film. That's going to be the next key thing. Probably the most important thing is who they're going to get to direct it.
Catherine
And so-
Bigelow.
oh, God.
Wouldn't that be dope? Catherine Bigelow directed it?
You get Catherine Bigelow directing a Supergirl movie.
Yeah.
Any hesitations or minor doubts I have right now will be gone. The last film I saw of hers was Detroit. Has she done one since Detroit?
I don't think so.
Detroit was brilliant.
I mean,
I can't watch it again because it was so heavy, but it was so good.
please bring Catherine Bigelow back, everybody.
I mean, oh my God. If James Gunn announced tomorrow that Catherine Bigelow is directing Supergirl, I would lose my shit.
I know.
Man.
Me too.
All right, guys. What do you think about this? Like, listen, you know me. I am all in on James Gunn's DC, but I have to admit, I call it like I see it. This call makes me nervous. I always get nervous. You know this about me. I always get nervous when they announce, because almost every single time they bring in somebody doing their first thing, it rarely works out well. So in James we trust. I'm just a little bit nervous. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.